Lotus does a lot of damage. He doesn't manage to get a knock. Yes, he does, but it's not going to... POIs. We're going to have a thermal station staging ending, and this was a zone that we saw Kungana win yesterday, Dan, when we had that NRG spot, which I might start to rename when we're doing the EMEA broadcast to the Kungana spot if they manage to take home the win here in our game 5 of the day. But it's going to be an interesting one, for sure. Alliance not being down at Thermal Station has opened things up for Underrated as well. You can see that they're going to take that POI now. So Underrated, who aren't too far off match points themselves, might be feeling good about this one.
Yeah, I'm looking for any contesting going down. It looks like Skyhook is the closest place to having initial fights. You've got August and Hungary up there, Na'Vi also up there, and another team joining them that I can't quite see because my contact lenses aren't in. But still, 3 teams up in Skyhook that are going to be fighting, and 789 are close on the prowl for a potential third party. Credit to New Esports, by the way. They really went under the radar for me. 26-point game is massive, and they finished second as well. It could have been a 29-point game if they were able to get the victory there. They jumped up from, what, like 8th in the leaderboard to 1st in the leaderboard. That's absolutely huge. However, it was Olympus. They've won twice in this tournament now. Both times has been on Olympus. They failed to win on World's Edge. So is that going to be a little bit of a tester here for them to actually finally get a W on this map?
That's a really interesting point that you raise here, how teams perform on the different maps. And New Esports are one of those teams who love to take fights. It was something we saw in the qualification process for the ALGS Championships. They were putting up huge point games in, I think it was day 1 and 2 in those qualifiers, that really did kind of raise my eyebrow about how they perform in those team fights and how they approach things. Maestro going to be in a pretty good position as well as we have a look at that map overhead once more. They're the team that are landing around staging and picking up that loot. Just looking around to see if anyone's making a quick rotation here, and it doesn't look like it will be too many fast rotations, apart from maybe Aqualix, you can see already making their way through Harvester Dam.
It's Phoenix Legacy as the last team that's up in Skyhook, but they are going to be running right into a 789 ambush. The silence across the train tracks as they wait and they hope that someone is going to push in. And you hope there's no Bloodhound there. And there is not! And now 789 pounds.
Can they hit the shots though? Unfortunately, Leaverock's not going to hit too many. Arcstar's going in, but that's going to do some more damage. Estetu going to get the first one onto D Getter. Second one will come in at the hands of Sanya, and now just a final player alive here, and popping an ultimate acceleration, almost mocking them as they find that final kill. 789, it's a cheeky strategy. It's a nerdy strategy, but at the end of the day, it's an effective strategy.
Man hit the wrong keybind there, I reckon, and then panicked. It would have been scary if they had gone down. But yeah, I mean, they heard all the ruckus in Skyhook. They would have seen the skydiving trails, and it's just about putting one and one together. There is too many teams in Skyhook. The likelihood is someone's going to try and take this loot in this train track, and it was a successful ambush. Now, Kungana, the team who requires 1 point to get onto match point. So if they push a fight, 1 kill is all they need, and then I guess their job is just stopping New Esports from winning. It's simpler than it sounds, because if you do just set out to try and ruin someone else's game, you are then sacrificing your points. And of course, once match point is achieved and someone wins the tournament, it's about how many points you've accumulated as to where you finish, if second or third, and prize money is on the line. So not many teams would be willing to throw away a potential second place to finish in 5th, for example, just by sabotaging another team.
Fire Beavers, who are just that single point away, making their rotation, as are Na'Vi. 2 Skyward dives in stereo as they find themselves in different areas of World's Edge here, and this is going to be more than just a little bit of damage being output here by Strafey. He manages to get the knock, or should I say the crack on the shields, and has to avoid now getting that knock. And Na'Vi kind of fallen into the middle of an action-packed area. One thing I do want to quickly point out was the positioning of Endeavor Dan. They've already managed to get up on that high ground above the zip line. A really good rotation from them all the way from Harvester.
Yeah, it's going to be important to rotate very early with a lot of people moving here in Thermal. Na'Vi getting some good shots away, but Magicians holding well, and maybe some shots coming from the backside, and Magicians now do seem to be on top. 2 versus 2 as Kuya takes down Disbelief. Magicians, though, still seem like they could take this.
Malawan sliding around the corner, will get the knock onto the Gibraltar, and now it's going to be up to the last player alive here to try and do something magical for Na'Vi. It's not going to happen. Magicians eliminate Na'Vi as our second squad to go down here on World's Edge. And Na'Vi, it was an interesting move for me. And I say interesting because it seemed like a huge risk. The way that they engaged with multiple teams in that area, tried to get the damage done after the Skyward dive. Maybe a little bit of a a foot on the brake would have been a better way to try and approach that rotation that they made there. Easier said than done, of course, with hindsight being 2020, but it just seemed a little bit over-aggressive from Na'Vi for me.
Well, Magicians and Na'Vi were 5th and 6th, only 2 points separating them. Full Gang have also taken 3 kills by getting the wipe on 7, 8, 9, it would seem. So 7, 8, 9 will fall. Na'Vi were on 31 points, so they won't be getting to match point, but Magicians, who are on 33, with those 3 kills, will now up to 36. So a high placement game, and you never know, they might be on match point as well.
Well, speaking of match point, this is our only team who are on it right now. New Esports trying to find their way inside of this zone, find somewhere to call home, or maybe they're just going to try and eliminate every single competitor in the lobby. The shot's coming in with a G7 Scout. I'm going to do a little bit of damage, and enough to force that team away back to the other end of that portal. Denze going to have to pop back. We'll have the ability to get those heals off nice and quickly, though, with the gold armor in his capacity. However, I'm going to have to back down from that height, and New Esports now kind of caught in the middle of no man's land, deciding to back up to the respawn building here just outside of staging.
They don't have that Gibby. They had a Gibby during Olympus, and well, we'll see whether now switching over to Caustic is going to be very important for them. If they can get a building, if they can get somewhere a little bit sticky in Thermal Station, then perhaps Caustic could be absolutely imperative for their victory of this tournament. But we very rarely see the first game where someone gets onto match point, that gets converted into a win. Targeting. People do realize there is one team on match point, and they will be keeping a keen eye on the kill feed. It is something competitive players have asked for it to be removed, so players can't see who's getting knocked. But I think it does add an element of skill where players will have to keep an eye on the kill feed and work out who is where. But I can certainly understand their grievances with it. So we'll see whether New Esports do get targeted once we get to the later stages of the game.
Well, our colleagues have got the place that they want to play. I know they love to play this donut building, the dome, whatever you want to call it, just on the west side of that huge structure, which kind of dominates the horizon of Thermal Station. So they're going to be pretty comfortable for now. They might have to rotate a little bit north, though, as that ring has pulled slightly up to where we thought it might have been. And look at the 2 teams that seem to be in the vicinity of what we call the NRG spot, or what I certainly have called that NRG spot, where this zone tends to end. Endeavor are there. Just to their north now though, is Kungana. And Kungana, as we mentioned, just 1 point away from match point themselves. So Game of Drones kind of up on this high ground, up on the ridge, overlooking all of the teams trying to make rotations. This is the good thing about this spot, Dan. You have so many lines of sight on all the teams trying to force their way into zone.
JNW's just got a knock onto Matafi, and that would be the 1 kill they need if they can finish it. And you can see how desperate they are now. They're pushing in on this. They know that their match point is right here with this fight. August and Hungry, they have their backs to their circle. They certainly are struggling, but it's whether Kungana can actually convert this one.
Yeah, if Kungana get 1 finish on 1 knock, they're good. The rest of the game, they can just focus on taking out New Esports. However, they haven't managed to get it quite yet, as August and Hungry have managed to reset, and now Matape going to use that jump pad just to get back on top momentarily of this high structure. And with the G7 Scout in hand, it's not going to be an easy push here for Kungana, even though they got that initial damage. They're not able to capitalize and get that 1 point. And the more situations you'll find yourself in, Dan, where that 1 point just slips through the fingers, you start to get a little bit nervous, you get a little bit shaky. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
the alternative is they look at how many squads are left, and if they reach top 15, they also get that 1 point that they need. So that's why they're not getting too desperate for the kill. They probably would have had an eye and said, all right, well, actually, we're only 2 squad wipes away from achieving that point anyway. So let's just back off a little bit. Let's play the slow game. Let's let other teams eliminate themselves. And that goes the same, of course, for the other team who are up there on match point. With the fact that we have 2 teams so close to match point means that it puts extra pressure on our current team on match point, and that's a scary thing. When you know next game there could be 3 teams there, you feel like this is your moment. New Esports have to capitalize.
Look at that zone pool, and look at New Esports. They're the only team that's chilling around this zone right now. They're going to have big smiles on their faces. They are holding down one of the only buildings that could potentially be involved in this end zone. We've seen the pull away from the choke we were talking about earlier, all the way back to where New Esports find themselves. So how things can change with a shift in the ring, Dan. New Esports were playing edge a minute ago. Now they're playing center zone.
Well, Rugby, the last player remaining from Maestro, and just getting peppered from every single direction. It's Scars Europe who are dealing out the damage, and Scars who are sticking on Loba, may I add. They really need a huge game to kind of get the belief back in themselves and also the belief back from their fans that they actually could take this tournament. We know if they do get to match point on set, I'd certainly have them as heavy favourites. With the amount of wins they've been able to find during this tournament and in previous tournaments, they thrive under that pressure of match point where they need to find that victory, where they have to rotate early. But maybe they haven't been able to succeed in getting those points to get there. So we'll see whether this could be the turning point for them.
Kangana now looking down on the Scars. Graceful taking that angle. Taishin going to use that bracelet just to get away and cross that line of sight without taking any damage. It looks like Scars were making the decision to try and finish off that final player from Maestro. How about that? It is going to be them moving in now. However, one last player alive here and will need to be dealt with. At 96 with a Spitfire should be finished off by Mandy. Taishin comes in just to finish things off. That's 3 KP. And that is the confidence boost that you were talking about, Dan. Scars, when they get rolling, they are very, very difficult to stop. The real question for them moving through these next few games is, have they left themselves enough time in this lobby to get onto match point before someone can steal away the tournament? Yeah,
they'll be hoping that New Esports don't get the job done here, if I'm completely honest, as will the rest of the lobby, and that's where you have to keep a keen eye on the kill feed. You have to try and isolate New Esports when you do find them, and if you get into a situation where there's maybe 3 or 4 teams in the end game and you know New Esports are there, it sounds bad, but you kind of have to gang up on them. You've got to just play out the tournament and hope that they don't get the W. As we've only got 16 squads left, both Fire Beavers and Kangana now one team wipe away from also being on match point, and they'll be well aware of that.
Here's a question. I don't think we've ever had one team on match point win it in the next game.
No.
And if that happens, that would be certainly a record in my memory anyway. That was something that's happened in Apex Legends. We'll take another look at that map overhead, and you can see the tunnel kind of splitting where this zone might pull. We might pull a little bit south towards that train station. We might see it towards New Esports, like I mentioned previously, but Kangana, who probably thought they were in a really good spot a minute ago, now find themselves on the edge of zone, almost opposite to what we've seen from New Esports now, as we jump on their board with post-kills point of view.
And Kangana opting to make the move to try and get into circle already, which is a risky one. I would have been tempted to maybe just wait an extra minute or so and see if one squad gets wiped, but you have to assume that everyone with this circle will be playing very similar. This is World's Edge now. It's not Olympus. We don't have the same aggression. People play for that end game. People play to try and get a spot to attempt to win the game. It's much easier to win the game through actually playing a final circle, as major pushers will push in, take down Morning Stars, but they're not the only team there.
Fizzy manages to get in. Fire Beavers arriving on the scene, and that will be the point that Fire Beavers need to join New Esports on match point. So job done here for Fire Beavers. The only thing they have to worry about now is stopping New Esports. It really is as simple as that for them now.
It's the same for Kangana as well. Fire Beavers have just secured that point for Kangana, getting the 1 placement point by finishing in the top 15. So we will have at least 3 teams on match point in the next game, but we also have the possibility of other teams joining them. We've got Underrated, who are 13 points off of it. They could very well have a big game and achieve it, as well as Magicians. We've already seen pick up at least 3 KP. A victory plus more KP for them might take them to match point as well. So there could be several teams on match point next game. So New Esports really need to take advantage of this situation they're in.
They do indeed. It's not very often you get the opportunity to win a tournament with match point format. And having found themselves in that position, you've got to take advantage of it. Easier said than done, though, as everyone else in the lobby will be more than aware of everybody on the commentary desk, on the analyst desk, and of course, you watching at home, that New Esports are on match point. And look at New Esports. They are in a great position here. That ring has pulled towards them. Scars making their move, though, down on that low ground, as we see Aqualix now fighting with Fenerbahce Esports and getting that first knock. Cathryan trying to exchange some damage with that Arcstar and some blind fire through that caustic gas, but it looks like here, just for the moment anyway, Aqualix might have the advantage, but there, it's a shot from distance from K-Swinny, and the Kraber once again having an impact here onto a team's journey towards that endgame.
Yeah, Matafe getting involved as well. Several teams trying to be in this little skirmish, but it seems like Fenerbahce are going to come off the worst. They've lost 1 player. Aqualix have got back up to a full 3. But as we focus again on the circle, just as we watch this game and this fight unfold, New Esports are in prime position on set. I mean, there's that little area under the train track where one team is currently in residence where it may finish, but it could pull directly on top of New Esports. I've seen finishes on that building, and that would be perfect for them. So they have a fantastic chance of winning this game.
Aqualix surviving for now. The other good news here for New Esports is that All these teams are currently fighting in and around Thermal Station. They haven't been able to rotate out. And what that means is from 14 squads, we'll probably go down to about 7 or 8 by the time all of that fighting is done. So all of this is great news, as I mentioned, for New Esports. Now we're going to see August and Hungry making their rotation, trying to get a little bit closer to that choke. And they're actually going to take a wider rotation around to that choke point that we've just seen, taking a little bit of heavy fire on their way down, but should be safe to land. And it looks like a little change of flight path here to take this tunnel. The tunnel, even though it's given the cover for now, does leave itself quite open, especially with the team above, but only going to have to get Matafe back to his feet. Again,
we see how important the gold backpack is as well. It really helps when you do just get picked up very quickly. August and Hungry, though, in a sticky situation. That happens with Valkyrie sometimes when you have an idea of where you want to go, but then you spot team after team after team, and you have to just go with the very last option. The last option was the train tracks, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like it was the right option. August and Hungry down to just one, about to be wiped off the face of World's Edge, as this circle will be closing in 35 seconds, and we've got 13 squads remaining. Most importantly, one of those squads, New Esports, who are sat in prime position right now. I would also say Magicians are in a pretty good spot, and Kungana could disrupt things where they are.
I mean, Kungana are looking down the barrel of New Esports at the moment. Scars are on the other side of things. 4Gang also surrounding them. Kungana playing on this low ground at the moment. But this is going to be a really tense finish here, because even though they will know, or they will soon find out that New Esports are inside of that building,
yeah,
they're going to be shot from so many different angles down that getting to New Esports is going to be a challenge in itself.
Yeah, to be honest, when I looked at the map overhead, I thought Kungana were up here with Magicians, but alas, it's Magicians in the better position. And if they can take down Kungana, they really can gatekeep all those teams coming from behind them, and then they'll have the ultimate high ground here. Unless Fire Beavers decide they want to go above. Top Dog's also struggling a little bit. Mimo, the last remaining player.
Mimo going to try and take down the final players from Aqualix, and will manage to knock one at least. But the zone closing quickly behind him is going to be a problem, so he's looking to secure the extra KP there onto Naski. Maybe thinking about getting his teammate back into the game, but look how quickly that is burning. He's not going to get this med kit off. Top Dogs will be eliminated. And here comes Fire Beavers once again from the top ropes, dropping the elbow onto World's Edge. The bubble will go down from both teams here, and it's going to be Taskmaster moving in, and Flavor of the Month on the other end of this damage. What a push that is from Fire Beavers.
They come off the top ropes, and they land the pin right onto Flavor of the Month. Flavor of the Month did not know what was going on there. Out of nowhere, like an RKO. Enough wrestling references, but Scars Europe are going to try and finish off the remaining players here. They've noticed there are some weakness and some weak players just around. Sunset, the last remaining, I think, from Fire Beavers. Yes, they will fall. 7 squads left, and New Esports are still sitting pretty inside that building.
They're still alive, and I just wonder if anyone actually knows that New Esports are here, who have now shown some presence at least. Thermite's going to go down, which is going to do a little bit of damage here. As you can see, the RPR has been taken down, so members of Scars have fallen here. Taishin, one of the last players alive, and it looks like this is a massive push coming in from New Esports. Taishin moving towards his last teammate alive here, using that Loba bracelet to get out of dodge. But if New Esports can take control of this side of Circle, Dan, the rest of the lobby is in front of them. They're all going to kill each other, and they might have the opportunity, if they can deal with Scars, to close this out here on the only game that they are the only team on match point.
However, they have to be careful. If they show up on the kill feed, suddenly that will be alarm bells ringing for the rest of the lobby. They might have gone unnoticed right now, and some people will probably be questioning it, saying, are New Esports still alive? Does anyone know? Did anyone see them in the kill feed? If they kill Scars, we might see the rest of the team suddenly go, wait a second, we need to start thinking about a gentleman's agreement here. Let's take out New Esports just so we can get into another game and perhaps get to match point ourselves. But New Esports are not letting Scars sit pretty here. They are very much wanting to take them down, because they know, as you say, if they can take down Scars, they have the entirety of this side of the map.
It's not only that, though. Even though the gentleman's agreement is one thing, the other problem is the teams who are chasing are trying to get onto match point, so it's not going to be a case of just focus firing. They need the points themselves, so I really feel like New Esports have got a great chance to close this one out right now. 5 squads now remaining. They take out Scars, and now the lobby is in front of New Esports. They could do this right here, right now.
So Magicians are going to be one of the main troubles for Gang also. And all these teams are fighting each other. New Esports can just wait. They're going to take each other out, and we may well have a 3v3. Magicians are going to probably fall here, as well as Kungana are the ones going up against them. I wonder whether New Esports are going to even have a 3v3. It could be a 3v2 at this rate.
This is going to be built for them. Manilo, last player alive here on Kungana. They have to work this out, the rest of the lobby, as quickly as physically possible. Matey doesn't look like he's in a good spot here. He survives for now, but you can see in the background there, Kishira, post-kill, Denze. Can't believe what's just happened in front of them.
New Esports, and they tweeted earlier, they say everyone is sleeping on us, just you wait, and we have waited, and we're gonna wait a little bit longer. 4 squads left, a real chance to take this tournament in what would be pretty much record fashion, but there are teams who can disrupt it. They just have to kind of realize that it is New Esports, but look at where the circle is pulling, may I add. It is going towards the tracks. New Esports do have to move a considerable amount.
I just wonder if the rest of the lobby is starting to work this out now.
It could
or
be
if it's just been left too late. 4Gang, like you say, in position as a 3. Can do the damage to New Esports to stop them on this rotation. Matey trying to finish off Maliwan and will just about manage to do so, but without going down to the ring. So now we're just down to 3 squads. And 4Gang on the high ground. Post-kill making the move now, trying to go forward for New Esports, but this is not looking good for them now. First player down for New Esports. 4Gang trying to save the tournament, not just for themselves, but for the rest of the lobby as well. Post-kill will go down, and we will go to another game.
We've got another game, and 4Gang have a chance to try and get on match point here as well. They're on around 4 kills already. 12 points would be 16 as total. They were on 30, that would make 46. So if they can get 3 more kills here with this wipe, they might just be 1 point off. It really depends how many they were able to accumulate in that wipe of New Esports. Magicians, only 1 player left, and 4Gang, well, it's surely inevitable at this point.
You would think so, a little bit like Thanos. A click of the fingers here, and he will be inevitable. Ozus looking up, hoping, praying. They can bubble forward, they can take angles. This is just a case of waiting to see this one play out. Ozus just doing a little dance, a little jig, and hoping and praying that something magical is going to happen. Going to pop the shield cell. And the only question is, do 4Gang realize that there's only 1 player alive? They don't have a Bloodhound, so they're not able to scan and get that vital information that they do need here, Dan, but it's just a matter of time, surely.
Yeah, I can't see a 1v3 happening here if it does happen. I mean, there is an Eva 8 in the hand of us, all right? And I have seen some pretty crazy plays, but surely 4Gang get sight of this soon and say, okay, there's 1 player, let's just drop and let's finish things off. They've got the Caustic ultimate. Everything is there for 4Gang.
I just wonder if they've left this too late now. Are they going to take too much damage? Here comes the push, the bubble will come in. Ozus does a lot of damage. He doesn't manage to get a knock. Yes, he does, but it's not going to be enough. 4Gang finally pick their moment and pick up the win and join a number of teams on match point now, but I tell you what, that came down to the wire. New Esports had the opportunity to close it out. 4Gang